Hello, friends. Welcome to this podcast session. I'm going to discuss about blockchain and IoT, how they are going to work together for securing a pharmaceutical supply chain of tomorrow. Just to give you a brief about what really we are offering. As you are aware, we have a channel, Center of Excellence Pharma 4. This has been designed and established by Dr. Jayan Joshi with an objective of adoption of various emerging technologies like cloud, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, blockchain, how they are going to help pharma industry to solve their challenges and achieve Pharma 4. You can see more details at our website. We have a platform on Udemy where a complete smart manufacturing in pharma course is being designed with about 20 modules covering end-to-end manufacturing areas with adoption of emerging technologies. Our YouTube channel was started about 5 years back, which has got more than 300 videos. Again, from strategies to audits and validations. Podcast channel has got more than 60 episodes now, and our book series onto Amazon has 4 books which are available both in Kindle as well as in a paperback. With this introduction, let me start with the topic. I would just try to give you a brief illustration how blockchain and IoTs are going to work together for a secure pharma supply chain for tomorrow. As you know, there are a lot of challenges into pharma distribution where spurious counterfeit drugs are getting into the systems and how this can be prevented by adoption of blockchain and IoT. That's what is the objective of this particular channel. My agenda is introduction, blockchain technology, IoT technology, integration of blockchain and IoT, industry initiatives, stakeholders' benefits, technical architecture and implementation framework, challenges and future directions, and finally a conclusion. In an overview about challenges into pharma supply chain, I'm going to discuss about challenges, ensuring the drug authenticity, maintaining traceability, guaranteeing safety, blockchain technology, providing a secure and transparent ledger, enhancing traceability of products and drugs, Internet of Things, enabling the real-time monitoring about the entire supply chain, improving the data collection and analysis, integration of blockchain and IoT, and its impact onto patient safety. Why I've listed these points is that as a user, you must really consider all these points, all these factors to assure a strong, secure pharma supply chain. As I mentioned, this whole objective is the impact of the counterfeit drug and how we can avoid it actually. Today's supply chains are becoming very complex because it involves multiple stakeholders. As you know, the entire digital supply chain is becoming more and more complex, starting from receipt of material and its processing at various locations and then packaging, and then it's a distributions and all that. So raw material to the patient is becoming more and more complex, and more stakeholders are involved into this. Vulnerabilities into the supply chain and exploitation of leading with the many significant issues is a challenge. Counterfeit drugs and it's going to impact onto the global health crisis is a challenge. Estimates of child health in from the pneumonia, a lot of those reports are there, mainly from the African countries and all. These are the deaths because of the fake anti-malaria medications and all that. And its impact is maybe EU governments and all, they're losing to billions of dollars. That's what is some of the reports are available. Now, there are a lot of limitations into the conventional systems. Conventional systems are, when I say, they are mainly the analog based systems. They are not integrated. They are still a silos based. But there are a lot of limitations are there. They are susceptible to manipulations because no, each data is stored into a different silos and they are not really integrated. So there are always scopes for manipulation because it's all manual entries and all that sort of. Then there are challenges into the cold chain requirements also because those process parameters are not constantly logged in and monitored. So these are all requires a stringent temperature control environments, and any deviations from those process parameters can really become an ineffective and harmful to the patients and all. So traditional monitoring has got its own limitation, and that struggle to maintain that comprehensive authentications into the supply chain actually. So those issues about tracking the drug journey from manufacturing to patients has got limitations. Now, what is really required? You need a strong foundation of the trust and transparencies. So you need a distributed and immutable ledger which can track medical drug transactions from suppliers to consumer to the patients and all. That will ensure the data integrity and security. You need a unified and transparent platform where all this data can be tracked, which needs a seamless integration and which needs an accessibility to all the authorized stakeholders, which is very important. So you need an efficient solution for counterfeit drug crisis and immutable, which prevents a tampering about the data, and transparency enhances the accountability with all stakeholders. So tamper-proof transactions are to be stored, and every transaction is stored in a unchangeable ledgers. So no, it's a tamper-proof and all that actually, and that will give the foundation of trust and transparency. This will also enhance the security mechanism. So you will have a proof of work which validates the transaction, and then a proof of stakes to ensure the trust and immutability. Then there are public and private keys which secure access to this blockchain transactions and all, and that restrict the participation to the unauthorized authorized entities and all that. Cryptographic techniques are used for uploading, keeping the data and transacting the data and all, and that protects the data integrity and privacy. So these are the various important features which are expected. Automated monitoring is required. So IoT devices play a very important role into this supply chain. IoT devices, they collect the critical data during manufacturing, storage, transformations and all that, which continuous monitoring with environmental conditions as we discussed last slide about the cold chain, where you want to monitor the temperature also into cold chain. So environmental conditions also play an important role, particularly temperature, which is crucial for the drug efficacy and safety. Cold chain management for temperature sensitive medication, automated monitoring of the real time data about the temperatures and all, which immediate action whenever there are any deviations occurs. It gets reflected. You have to take a necessary corrective actions or something like that. So reduction of human error will be there, and it will have a consistent monitoring and all. So data-driven decision making is a important thing which we always discussed with the entire digital supply chain management. See, it's not like on earlier analog systems where most of the decisions are based on to your memory or your experience and all that. Here it is the informed decision making which utilizes the data from IoT devices, because IoT devices will give you a correct data and all that. And then that will analyze the patterns and the trends and will prompt you to take a corrective action or correct decisions and all. Optimizing storage condition, enhancing the drug safety, improving the efficacy. These are the various factors which a system will take care when you are looking at it for a blockchain plus IoT based systems and all. This also gets extended to the transportation routes, effective route planning, reducing the delays and all, and handling procedures about those drugs is also very important. Ensuring the proper handling and drug integrity is also taken care. The comprehensive traceability is most important thing, which plays a role by integrating blockchain and IoT technologies. This enables us comprehensive tracking about the pharmaceutical products and drugs, and tracks from manufacturing to distribution to the end user or to the patients actually. So securing digital fingerprinting is also plays a role with cyber security and a blockchain. This ensures the authenticity and the origin of the each drug as it goes on moving into the complete digital supply chain management. Real-time updates are available on blockchain. Supply chain participants can update and see the data about the assets onto the data which is supported from the different systems, because it's a seamless data integration onto the digital supply chain. And IoT-enabled sensors are there. They continuously monitor either environmental or manufacturing data and all, which is securely recorded onto the blockchain. This, as I mentioned earlier, is enhances the blockchain cold chain also. Blockchain and IoT integration benefits the reliable traceability throughout the product life cycle. Continuous monitoring of temperature and environmental conditions is available. IoT devices monitor the secure recorded data onto the blockchain, which immediately alerts for the temperature deviation. Rapid corrective actions are being taken care because the correct right data is available to all required stakeholders to take necessary corrective actions now. And this preserves the product integrity, and workloads can trigger any alerts or alarms depending upon the cold chain, either temperature deviations or anything. And blockchain also records which is a permanently tamper-proof data, which is available for traceability. Now, FDA has got the drug safety requirements which have been designed, and there are a lot of technology surveys have been conducted by IBM, KPMG, Merck, Walmart, and they show the potential for the pharmaceutical traceabilities. integration of enterprise systems is available, and this manufacturers can post the serialization about the product data, that is the product and a batch and its movements, which is there from the manufacturer, distributors and dispensers and all. And that creates a common view about the product movement. Compliance of the DSCSA 2023 requirement as per the regulatory requirements, those are been also get supported, which is gives a trusted way to share that information and which leads to path to comply this interoperability requirements. And drug tracking is maintained and provides a privacy. PharmaLedger initiative is been generated. It also takes into consideration the electronic product information application, which allows the patients to scan a barcode onto the medication packaging. And once you scan that barcode, you have access and update digital information available onto your leaflet in any languages, showing you the complete product map, how its movements and all that. And then it has got a accuracy and authenticity about the data, which is very important. Supply chain traceability is available, which digitizes delivery documentation, makes documentation more accurate and secures, enables medication tracking, and which reduces the counterfeiting and all. IoT integration plays an important role, as I mentioned earlier. The blockchain-based systems for integrating the real-world data is available, and which is used even for clinical trials or supply chain monitoring and all. Tracix platforms have been developed to theft prevention, tracks shipment about the right customers, verifies end users' credibility and all that. So, right products, right time, deliver in the right quality to the right customers. That's the objective about this particular platform. Monitoring inventory also plays an important role because it tracks the available and consumed items in a real-time way. And then that directs the shipment to the locations with the medicine scarcity and all. Everything has been monitored. Recall management, in case there are some issues or challenges and you want to trace back a particular product or a batch, you want to recall it, this helps you to provide and monitor it. So time stamping functionality prevent the transfer of those some issues, medicines which needs to be recalled and all that. And that helps in a effective recall process also. So from manufacturer's point of view, it gives a comprehensive visibility. That is starting from the raw material sourcing to the finished product distributions and all that. It also helps in a better quality control because you are continuously monitoring that particular raw material or a packaging material or in process stages from starting of the manufacturing process to the various stages to going to the distribution warehouse and further down and all that. And then that reduces the damage which is going to happen from the counterfeit drugs and all. So digitizing those transactions, at various places, various locations, various manufacturing stages, that gives a visualization from producer to the patients and all, and enhancing the accountability. Your invoicing and other shipment documents and all also gets connected to each and everything. So from distributors and wholesalers' point of view, the variation into the product authenticity and inspections of the drugs on the basis of the receipts, with a barcode and all, with digitally signed agreements recorded onto the blockchain. That data is automatically captured, maintained, secured, and all that. And it is a foolproof, tamper-proof data. And that enhances the inspections verifications which are really required from the quality test to confirm the production data, locations, and everything. Increasing transparency, reducing the needs for the frequent audits are some of the add-on benefits which can be generated to the entire supply chain. Now, from the pharmacist point of view, that pharmacists play an essential role because they are the direct connection with the patients and all that. So pharmacists verify the drug origin using the blockchain technology. So they can also, before passing the any drugs or products to the patient, they can check it at their level. And once they have that secure transaction recording, which has been authorized and is recorded into the blockchain, when they are checked up and secured it actually, then they can verify and pass on to the patients and all that stuff. So verification process and then that reports that transactions also gets generated and it's recorded into the blockchain with your other ledgers and documents and all that. So finally, we are coming to the patient side. I'm just looking at it, each stage, where how the products or the drugs are moving up and all. Coming to the last stage where now the product or a drug has been reached to the patient. So patient can also verify it, based on to the scan or a QR code or which is there onto the medication packaging and all that. And that can help the patient to trace back the origin and everything, from the entire blockchain or a supply chain before consuming the product. So he is assured about the enhanced safety about the product or a material or a drug which is he is going to consume it and all that, which is a safer and more effective treatment for him and all that. And in case if there are any challenges, if this particular product or a drug is not good for the thing, that recall management is also available for correction. Now, what is the technology system, which is how is the architecture? So just to give you a brief idea, there are three layers are there. The first one is the physical layer where the IoT devices and sensors are there and they capture the data directly either from the manufacturing process or from the warehouse or from the cold chain or going up to the patients and distributors and all that data gets collected and all that. Then there is a network layer, where this communication infrastructure is there, where IoTs which are capturing the data with the blockchain goes into that particular network and then it gets shared and gets integrated with the product batch and everything, and keeps track about it. And third is an application layer where the user interfaces or applications are there, which allows stakeholders to interact with the systems with their QR code or with RFID or whatever it is. That will go on viewing the product information and managing alerts and all that actually. Now, after this application layer, there is a data management strategy, because this requires a hybrid approach about the data storage. There's a huge amount of data is going to get collected at each and every stage. This is where the big data concepts are being applied. So on chain there is a storage. There is a critical transactions. Those data is getting stored into the blockchain. Besides off-chain, the storage is also there, which keeps track about IoT data, which is stored into the cloud and blockchain verification. And finally, there is the data into the PharmaLedger also, which is onto the protocol where that is off-chain encrypted data, which is only anchored into the blockchain. And that gives the control with the patient, which is a confidential data, which patient is generating, patient is keeping, which is specifically for the limited access to the stakeholders. So how such systems are basically getting implemented? So implementation methodology plays a very important role. So you have a stakeholders identification. You have to identify the key stakeholder. You have to see onboarding regulatory authorities, suppliers, manufacturer, who are all of the stakeholders, and you have to give them an identifications and all that. So only those who will have that identification stored into the system will have access to them. And then you have to have a relationship, relationship between the stakeholders, because there will be different stakeholders at a different processes into manufacturing, distribution, logistics, and all that. And those also get some data which is relevant to a smart contracts is also getting generated, which also is there. So smart contract development also is required into this particular system, and creating smart contracts is also a part into blockchain IoT integration systems around. And when you will go for that implementation, you should normally start with some prototype implementation, either with some of the critical, challenging application, and then go on extending to cover up the complete supply chain and all. And then you have to do testing and validations also. Then there are technology challenges, because as I mentioned it to you, we are adopting number of various technologies, and which requires a scalability issues are there. Because as I mentioned it, there is a increasing number of transactions and data points which are going to affect to this system's performance, because there are a number of stakeholders, there is going to be a processing, there is going to be AI-based algorithms which are going to analyze it. So you have to really take into consideration all those things with a volume which is going to get generated, which is going to get analyzed and all also. So scalability issues is a challenge. Interoperability is concerns is a challenge, because there is a requirement to standardize all those processes, because as we go on increasing the number of stakeholders, the protocols needs to be standardized. No, they have to adopt to a certain style of working. So SOPs are to be designed onto that. And then you have to take into consideration the devices securities also. As you're going to connect more and more IoT devices, you have to see that those IoT devices are also secure. They are also tamper-proof and all that. So there is no hacking of any data from directly from the IoTs also. So a number of such issues have to be taken into consideration. Right? Finally, there are those barriers up there. So how you are going to overcome those barriers? So implementation cost you have to consider. You have to have a quite substantial initial investment into blockchain and IoT infrastructure. And then you have to see that there are challenges for a small mid-sized company. They may not be able to afford all those investments and all. Then there is a change management, because the stakeholders, they are habituated with the old style of working, and now they have to adapt to this new technologies, and this requires a training during the transitions and then industry consensus is required, because consensus is going to be required, because you are going to have many stakeholders, many governments frameworks and all that sort of thing. So different data standards are to be matched with all that. But we have to also look and think about the future opportunity. That artificial intelligence integration is going to be a challenge. Combining artificial intelligence with the blockchain and IoT can really enable the predictive analytics for the supply chain optimization, and any earlier detection about the potential issues can really help in resolving those disruption issues or challenges also. And this can get expanded to many use cases, which track and trace functionalities will be there, automated payment system can be there, incentive mechanism for supply chain participants can be there, digital health record for the patients can be maintained and generated. So regulatory evolution is going to take place. So framework evolving to accommodate this blockchain technology, and compliances will really help a lot into that. So coming to this, finally, my conclusion is that this is a transformative opportunity. It's going to be a big opportunity, and this requires a securing pharma supply chain immutable, transparent record for a entire drug or a product journey and all that sort of other thing. And this also addresses the critical challenges about drug authenticity, traceability, safety, and all that, and also support the FDA rules, regulation, requirements, and all that. So there is a potential of revolution, but you have to call for an actions with all stakeholders and all. So I think I gave you a very brief idea about the blockchain, IoT, cloud, how it can be adopted, how it is going to be beneficent, and how it can be implemented, the action plans and all that. More details are also discussed onto various other videos. Please have a look at those videos also. Do share with your network. Do write down any comments, suggestions onto this also. Uh, I hope, I think I will stop it over here. Feel free to write to us. Thank you. Bye.